They were the celebrity. By that time, the society was turned upside down because of all the teachings, the lectures. They were even rebuking the law keepers then. The law keepers, they were like the legit elite part of the society, elite system of the society, and nobody could say no to law keepers. But then here we have a man from nowhere else but Nazareth coming and rebuking them. This was them. They were turning the system upside down. And in this team, Peter was the leader of the disciples. He left everything behind. James and John, the inner circle of Jesus Christ team, he was there. And you see that Peter really loved Jesus as a friend, and we see that in Matthew chapter 6, in this conversation with Jesus Christ, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" These people were really confused. That man from Nazareth, who is not learned, in synagogues, in marketplaces, in temples, he was teaching the law of Moses. And the Torah was not available to everyone, but here Jesus was teaching about the law, and he was becoming very popular, and people were getting confused. So Jesus turned to his disciples and asked, who do men say that I am, the Son of Man am? So they said, some say John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. This is what people were confusing. They were murmuring, even as they listened to Jesus preaching. He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Jesus asked the disciples, "So what are people talking about me? What do they think that I am?" They said, "You could be John the Baptist." They said that you could be Elijah or one of the prophets. "Okay, but who do you think I am?" Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." This is what Simon Peter answered to Jesus then. Simon was not confused. It must have taken... This is what Jesus said to him. "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." This is their relationship. Peter was not confused. It must have taken a little bit of discerning and asking to have one of your friends to be called the Son of God, the prophesied Messiah. And Jesus revealed that it is not you, but our God in heaven who has revealed this to you. This is Peter. This is his conviction about who Jesus was. Peter is a very jealous person. He is very dynamic. He's an old man. When he heard that Jesus Christ's body is no more in the tomb, he ran. Although he couldn't outrun John, but he ran. He was an old man. He ran. But you also see that Peter, on the other hand, is always overestimating his strength, his wisdom, his ability. And when Jesus talked in the upper room discourse in John chapter 13, when Jesus talked about he's going to go away, and where I go you cannot come, this is what Simon Peter told him, asked him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus answered him, "Where I am going you cannot follow me, but you shall follow me afterward." Peter said to him, "Lord, why can I not follow you? I will lay down my life for your sake." Overestimating his loyalty and his strength. Sounds like many of us. Jesus answered him, "Will you lay down your life for my sake? Most assuredly I say to you, the rooster shall not crow till you have denied me 3 times. So we see that Peter really loves Jesus, but also he's overestimating his power, his strength, his ability. And did Peter betray him through Jesus at 3 different occasions? And after having done that, after betraying him, Peter saw him being crucified on the cross. And now Jesus is no more. And not even Peter, all the disciples are really scared. We were really popular for 3 years. It felt like this is going to be our career. This is going to be our profession. We'll be walking and traveling from town to town, healing people, preaching, and telling people, hey, you need to repent. You need to believe in Jesus. It felt like this is going to be their profession until they die. Until Jesus decided to go walk into the battle by giving up his life on the cross, which nobody expected. Although revealed that this is his plan to the disciples so many times. It is one, but it is another thing when you are really going through that. The Jesus, their friend, the Messiah, being on the cross, the person who is going to save, who is coming, being prophesied for many years and coming to save Israelites, is on that cross. That cannot comprehend what our Father has in store. But for them, at that moment, is very real. Jesus is dead. And they became so scared. And what did they do? They gathered themselves in a room, locked themselves up. And even after Jesus came into that room and showed them that I am the Jesus, I have resurrected, I have risen up. But still they were scared. And even then Peter betrayed. And what did he do? He said, I'm going back to fishing. That sounds like a very comfortable, no-risk job. Because that's my profession. I know what to do. But you see that they were trying to fish the whole night and they did not catch a single fish. That's the profession that Peter is really, really good about. But they couldn't catch a fish. He was not satisfied. It was not fulfilling. He's frustrated. And so when John proclaimed, it is the Lord, put on the shirt, plunged into water. My Lord is here. So what is so important about this conversation? At the time when Jesus had to ascend to heaven, I must ask the question, right? We must ask this question, why did we have to have another chapter, which is nowhere written in the other Gospels? Why did he have to meet them there at that moment? You see that the next verses 15 and the following verses reveals the reason why Jesus must meet them, especially Peter. Now Peter's life was turned overnight since the moment he said he left behind everything and followed Jesus. And it turned back to square one when Jesus died on the cross. And he betrayed Jesus 3 times. He's burned in guilt. And he's burned in hopelessness. What am I to do? I just betrayed the man who just died. You know, when we grieve loss, when we grieve people who have passed away, we think about all the moments which we think about what ifs. And I'm sure Peter is burning in that guilt. And most of the time, what a disappointing disciple, Peter. What a disappointing man. You were with the Messiah 3 years and you still couldn't understand. You are so disappointing, Peter. But this is something that we really do in modern churches. In modern churches is we practice, if you deny God, God will deny you by ourselves. We put down the rules by ourselves. It is very similar to our modern scenario now. But as we read Peter's case, the more we see ourselves in the story. This needs to be spoken out loud because it talks about our story. We find ourselves in situations like Peter. Jesus died. He's very hopeless. He's burning in guilt and he's going back. And he just went back to his old life. He's just burned in guilt and hopelessness. This is regression. This is setbacks, which is a very common challenge to every person. Is yours financial constraints? Are you battling health, failures? Are you battling with acceptance, misunderstandings? Are you battling with wanting to be heard, to be known, self-doubt, career setbacks, loss? What is it? This is something that all of us have gone through or are going through right now. You know, Peter was in a very raw moment of complete hopelessness. No one to look up to, yet the other disciples are looking up leader. What do we? So when Peter said, I'm going to go out for fishing, they said, okay, since you're going, we're also going. It is very real and very painful. And then we have Jesus. You know, we have Jesus just calling them, friends, come over. Come and have breakfast. Very, very warm. If Jesus needed to clear out the temple, he will. If Jesus needed to heal people on the Sabbath day, to make people understand that He is the Sabbath and not the day. He will heal a person on the Sabbath day. If Jesus needs the Jews to understand that Jesus is not only for the Jews but for every mankind, He's going to reroute His journey and go through Samaria and bring the gospel to the Samaritan people. And if Jesus needed to have that conversation with Peter, He will. And so Jesus came, made fire, cooked some bread, roasted some fish, and invited His friends for the last small group to have breakfast with them. And so Jesus came to where He would find Peter and made breakfast. He did not find Himself a nice setting in a room and call them, I want you to come at this time in a very nice room. No, that is not what He did. Do you know what Jesus did? He came to right where Peter is, right there. He meet him right in his comfortable life. He meet him right in his hopelessness state. That is the beauty of the gospel, that even while we were sinners, Christ died for us. Did Christ ask us to become perfect? Did Christ ask us to become good first? No. Christ came right where Peter was. Christ died for us right when we were still sinning. That is our Christ. And so the giver of that grace, this unmerited grace, came and embraced them, especially Peter. This is why we have chapter 21. This is why we see this conversation. Verse 15. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah. You must notice that the name Peter was given to Simon by Jesus. You are Peter now. That is what Jesus gave to Peter. But now you see that Jesus is calling him Simon. As much as Jesus can give grace to us, He also acknowledged our condition. Simon, you've gone back. That's quite striking. Do you love me more than your boats, more than the water, the currents, the fish, more than your comfortable profession? It will give you money for sure. If you catch fish, you sell them, you'll get money for sure. But do you love me more than these? Now when I read this, I want you to read this and try to identify